recording this because Arnauld is thebomb.com. As I told you, the amount I've learned from this guy, and he's pushed me way beyond my comfort zone. So I thought having him on the call for you guys too would just be awesome because he's pretty unreal. So I'm going to pass it right on over and get my notepad ready. And Arnaud's going to host our little team call tonight.
Maybe I should be off of mute. What a great start. Hey, I wanted, Morgan, first of all, to thank you for having me on. Nice to meet everybody, at least over Zoom. Very as personal as we'll get, right? With all the distances we have, I'm sure people are all over the provinces in Canada. And so I just wanted to take a moment to thank Morgan and thank the team for jumping on. I love what I do, and I enjoy it every day. And this is not something I consider work. What I hope that I share today, hopefully you find one or two things that pertain to you. Hopefully things that can help push you in what you're doing with your business or your fitness, by the way, and something that will propel you this month to have a good month. And so before I start, just so you know, I'm outside here by my porch. And so that's why I'm waving at my neighbors. They're probably thinking, what's that crazy guy doing? This is the new subdivision. And so there's kids outside. And I thought I'd do it outside because I live in Utah. And for those of you that have been in Utah, this is just God's country. It's unbelievable. Now, if you live in the plains, Saskatchewan or Manitoba, I know it's really flat, right? Well, I wanted to see if you guys can see what I'm seeing, just like literally east of where I am. And I'm going to leave this moment, and hopefully you guys bear with me and just kind of check it out. So the kids are playing outside there, but I'm going to turn the computer and see if you guys can see the mountains back there. Just nod at all if you can see the mountains. Some of them are still snow-capped, right? Just unbelievable. And so those are mountains that I actually, one of them, I don't know if you got a chance to see them. One of them I actually got to climb, and I've shared that story before, but I'm not going to share it on this call. It was just really quickly, it was the second highest mountain in Utah. And I remember every time just sitting there glancing at them like I'm doing right now and going, why not try it up there? And sure enough, I got convinced into it. So I like a challenge, and I hope that if you're on this call that you like a challenge. Obviously, you're a Beachbody coach, so you like challenges. It means that, you've done the workout. This is the Bring It hat. That's the P90X workout. That I'm going to wear it the way Coach Morgan Rigger wears it, which is backwards, right? That's her, that's her, how would you call it? You recognize Coach Rigger with the backward hat. And so I said, why not? And I said, bring it. I'm going to climb up. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I ended up climbing it up. Morgan, you'll have to bring me on for another call so I can share the story. By the way, the word I was looking for, I'm a word kind of geek. The word I was looking for is her trademark. That's Morgan Rigger's trademark. Okay, so let's jump in. The reason why you're on this call, you're a coach, like I said, and hopefully you like a challenge. And if you're on this call, I believe you're an emerald and above, Morgan. You're someone that's building their business. I recognize some of you as diamond coaches. And so what I wanted to share today is actually it's very focused on one thing. Let me give some background. So I've been involved with Beachbody now since 2011, and it was April of 2011, so 4 years now, that I joined Beachbody. When I was joining Beachbody, one of my mentors, which I believe hugely in mentors, is Jeff Hill. You hear him every single Monday on a National Wake Up Call. And he brought me with the single purpose of, one, helping with the regional sales team, just putting the programs together, helping with our recognition, various things to help us grow. And at that time, by the way, we were at 45,000 coaches. We're at 300,000 coaches now, 4 years later. I like to think that I threw a small rock into that pond to have that ripple effect. So one of the ripple effect I was interested in, one of the ponds I was interested in that I've worked with before is Canada. And so when he brought me on board, he said specifically that you're going to eventually be working with the Canadian coaches and territory. But at the time, we weren't even open. It was just an idea. It was a project. I remember jumping in with our logistics and just a bunch of mumbo jumbo that you guys don't care about, but a lot of departments were working on it. And we had been working on it for probably 2012, so probably about, and when I came in, obviously I wanted to get going. I didn't want to wait, and I knew that, you know, part of health ministry, and you've got a lot of bureaucracy too that help protect you, okay? And so I remember thinking, okay, so there's two ways we can go about this, and typically you have two ways to go about your business too. The first way is let's just dot the I's and cross the T's, right? Let's do what we're told to do. And if I were to refer to you, let me get to Success Club 5, get my products paid for, you know, get to Emerald, and start building my business that way, right? So in our case was, let's stay in touch with what is called the Commission Bureau. Let's stay in touch with the health ministry and all these other people that are there to help move our project along. So we had a choice to make, okay? So if I were to describe it, wherever you are, if you're an Emerald or a Diamond or a Star Diamond or an Elite Coach, we all have goals, right? So this is where you are. This is where you want to be, okay? This is where you are. This is where you want to be. That's your goal. In between, there's the gap, okay? Between, there's the gap. So the thing with the gap is it can motivate you or it can just straight up deflate you. Okay, let's be very candid and very real, okay? And so I remember having to make some decisions. Let me give you a few examples. And for those of you that are not in Canada, you know, understand that there's just a lot of work that goes into opening a country. And so let me give you a few setbacks that we had during that in Canada. Here's a few examples. Like, these are real concrete examples of things that happened. Okay, so one would be, we're working with someone from the health ministry and we're trying to, you know, get Shakeology through and we're trying to get it approved. Here's what happens. There is 70 superfoods. So that means we need to explain every single one of those superfoods, what it does, where we source it from, what it's going to do. Are there any cases of someone that, you know, that took the maca root or whatever and had an allergic or medical attention needed to happen, right? So we're going through all that. Imagine working with one person from the health ministry and that person either gets a promotion or goes outside to work somewhere else. Guess what would happen to our project? Literally, the file will be here, and when someone goes, it would go right back down here, okay? We had to make decisions. What's another one? Another one is let's say, you know, the country we resource it in, you know, is not a country that Canada does business with. You know, there's some kind of international diplomatic things that are happening that are outside of our control. And this would happen over and over again, okay, for 4 years until that time. Okay, so we had to make a decision because that gap either pushes you or it deflates you. Many, many times, trust me, it deflated us. We're going, is Canada ever going to happen? Are we going to literally have to change every single thing about Shakeology to finally get it approved in Canada? And that's the one thing that I appreciate about Carl Deichler and John and Beachbody. We don't skimp out on integrity. We don't skip out on the excellence of our products, and you all deserve it, and your coaches and customers deserve it. Okay, so here's the decision that we had to make. And that's the decision that I invite you to make. We didn't dot the I's, we didn't cross the T's, we didn't go through our to-do list. We ran. At that point, we were walking fairly fast. Have you ever seen speed walking at the Olympics? They're like walking, swinging their hips. That's what we were doing. Okay, there was enough momentum going on that we felt that it would happen. We just didn't know. There was a lot of uncertainty. Guys, we started sprinting because when you're walking between the gap, the further out, the bigger the gap is, the more uncertainty, the more likely you're going to quit. Quit, quit, okay? This is something that not only you have to understand. I know I hope you can share it with someone that you care about. It doesn't matter if it's a Beachbody coach that's in your organization, if it's someone that is looking to open a franchise, someone that is venturing into their first, I don't care what it is. Tell them to run. Because if you don't run, the further out, every time you have an obstacle, every time you have a setback, that gap messes with your mind. It's messing with your mind right now if you're walking, okay? Let's be very candid. I hope I have your permission to be candid. Okay, so let me finish the story. So here's how we ran. We literally, because of the distance, we're in California and, health ministry, a lot of it is in Ottawa. We hired some attorneys that were literally there and weekly would go in and check. And they would make sure like, okay, Phil Smith, that's from whatever department, he's still sitting there, still works there, and has no kind of promotion's going to happen or is going to be fired or whatever. We did that. The other thing is we started flying out to Canada, like literally flying our chief legal counsel and saying, please go up there, Jonathan, like going up there. Like I cannot say enough about our legal team and what they did, right? They jumped through all kinds of hoops. We spent more money than was budgeted to open Canada. We literally, and we did everything we could. And if you guys can remember, in October of 2012, we did something that, quite frankly, it wasn't the ultimate. That's not what we saw, right? And some of you are fairly new coaches, but Morgan will remember that we went into what is called a pre-launch. When you're not really launched, you're in pre-launch. We did that for a purpose. That was part of our sprinting. Sometimes when you're sprinting, understand that things are not going to come out the way you want them to come out. You're not going to have a great business and diamond is going to be perfect with 5 and 5 and 2 emeralds and the future diamonds are going to be there. We to do things out of what the business plan called for. We had to go into pre-launch. And quite frankly, Morgan, now that we're launched, I can share this with you. We had no idea when we're going to launch. We said, our goal was 1 year. It didn't happen until October of last year. So it took us 2 years to finally launch fully into Canada because we sprinted, because we faced our setbacks and still made it happen. Was it pretty? No, it was ugly. Did it happen on our own terms? Absolutely not. But with every single win, did the gap start narrowing and narrowing and narrowing? Absolutely it did. And that's because we sprinted, right? And every single time that you have a gap, it doesn't matter. We all have gaps. And it doesn't matter, by the way, speaking of that mountain, every time you reach a new goal, like I remember sitting there at the top of the mountain, just looking over the whole valley over here, okay? Like literally the mountain is like this, and you can see like the north, which is Salt Lake Valley, and then the south, which is Utah Valley, and you see all of it, right? And someone said something that could have been either deflating or encouraging for me. And he said, the top of every mountain is the bottom of another mountain. I was like, you jerk, let me enjoy this moment here, okay? I'm filming, I'm taking the selfies, right? I know you would too, right? I'm taking the selfies, I did a video, but literally the top of every mountain is the bottom of another mountain, right? So wherever you are, there's a gap. There's a gap, okay? So here's what you need to figure out. Is number one, you need to figure out what the gap is. And then number two, you need to figure out, and you need to really sit down. Nice, okay? This is where, if I came to you, Rebecca, or if I came to you, Morgan, I would ask you, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Because that gap steals dreams. That gap steals dreams. That gap takes away your joy, okay? If you let it go, if you walk. My message is simple. Slow and steady doesn't win you the race. This is too mental of a game to let it just kind of be there and hope that I'm going to be slow and steady. Slow and steady can win you the race maybe in 5 years, but not in 2 years. Think about it. If you think that you're going to go slow and steady and hit your goals in 2 years, or narrow the gap in 2 years, but yet you're walking, the gap just keeps going like this, right? And two things can happen. You could have the mental fortitude and power to keep going through, right? Which is willpower. By the way, we don't have enough willpower as humans. We just don't, okay? Sorry, we've got like flies going around here. That's part of doing it outside. But we don't have enough willpower to just push through. And the second thing is your dreams are going to be gone, right? And so this is like, I'm talking to you as a friend. This is like, take away Beachbody. I'm talking to you as a friend. I'm Arnauld Nakaha, and I'm your friend today, okay? And so if your goals are big enough, then Ashley, I would come to you and say, let's write down a goal of what it means exactly to run. And let's really evaluate ourselves, okay? We can be our most honest critic, okay? We know if we're walking or if we're running. We know how bad we want it, or kind of if we're just saying we want it, okay? You either want it or you just kind of want it, okay? When you kind of want it, you're leaving it up to your willpower to just push you through all these gaps, right? And to finish the story, obviously, is October of 2014, we finally launched Canada. And think about it. We could have just stopped, or we could have just pushed on. We could have thought, no, we don't want to do a pre-launch. We would probably still not be launched at this time. We could have just decided to just take it easy and just do what we can, because the United States they're cranking, right? We don't need to expand to any other country. You wouldn't be a coach if you're in Canada. Think about all the thousands of stories of lives changed. Forget about the business for a minute, okay? Like, let's put that aside. Do you have a fitness transformation? Do you have people in your challenge groups that were able to participate in your challenge group because you're a coach? Think about some of those impacts. Some of those stories bring tears to my eyes, right? Because of what it has done. Not Beachbody, not you, but because of the willpower and the drive that you gave that customer to change their lives, right? None of this would happen. So Morgan, I would end with this. I would challenge every single one of you to really look at a couple things. Where are you? How big of a gap do you have? That's number one. You're here. This is your goal. How large of a gap do you have? Okay. Number two, and if you guys have a private group, Morgan, it would probably be best to like post under that, like an answer to that, right? Where's your gap? Number two, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad do you want it? And be honest with yourself, okay? This is not, let's tell Morgan what she wants to hear. This is you will never own it more than you, Cassandra. She won't. She can't, right? She won't own it more than you, Laura. I see you're listening in. Kristen. She won't, right? And so how bad do you want it? Okay. If you're a 5 or less on number 2, forget about number 3. Don't even go to number 3, okay? But number 3, if you're like 6 or more, okay, do a self-evaluation of what does it mean to run? What does it mean to run, right? Like specific things that I need to do to run. If I were to go into your group right now, or somewhere in there as a document or a file, Morgan and Steven have probably put your power hour. You probably have that, right? My question is, you just do the power hour and say, all right, I've checked it out. Can just relax now. Why put off what you can do today for tomorrow, right? So specifically, I would say, how do you need to run? What does that mean exactly? Give you an example, quite frankly. who's sitting right in front of you, and you've probably heard her story, but maybe hearing it from someone else might make a difference. 5 to 7 a.m. every single day for a year, working as a teacher for a year, right? 5 to 7 a.m., getting your workout in, doing the power hour to-do list, and probably pushing more than some people think that you can humanly push. That's what Morgan did, okay? For those of you that are running, keep doing it. The gap is narrowing. The goal is getting closer. The lives are getting changed. Keep running. Are you going to feel exhausted? You will. If you're exhausted, you're on your way. I'm telling you, if you're exhausted, you're doing good. So those three things, okay? Do me a huge favor. Understand that it's not going to be pretty. It's not designed to be cookie cutter, because every business differs. Yourself to think your life being bigger, your impact being larger. This is saying, guys, we're what? May 10th, May, June, July. So we're getting closer to summit. I would issue a challenge that if you're not signed up for summit, please sign up. Only if on number 2, somehow she caught the light, and she made a decision that financially didn't make sense, that really logically didn't make sense for her, but she knew through other people's examples that she had to run. And sometimes when you run, you're going to stub your toe, you're going to fall down, but as long as you're running, the gap is closing. Shoot through the gap, and I hope that you guys can do that this week. So, Morgan, I want to close the call, toss it back to you. What I'd like you to do, Morgan, is to actually point out a few people maybe on the call that are running and what exactly they're doing in terms of running. Are they waking up earlier? Are they doing more than they're asked to do, through their power hour? What are they getting way outside of their comfort zone? By the way, running doesn't mean you're like a superstar. Listen, I absolutely recognize that some of us, public speaking is the worst fear. And guess what is one of my fears? Public speaking, right? And I speak all over the place, right? United States and Canada. But I run. By the way, running for you could be speaking to one person in your neighborhood, like going to your neighbors and starting a fit club, okay? So Morgan, let me toss it back to you. I hope that there's one or two things. Hopefully you guys do that assignment. I'd love to see some things back, some feedback on this call, and specifically shooting through the gap and running. But thank you again, Morgan. Thank you for listening to me, everyone. And I'm so glad that Canada is open, and I'm so glad that I get to see you guys sometime soon in Saskatchewan, or hopefully in Nashville, Tennessee. So back to you.
Thank you so much, Arnauld. I was jumping on and off there. My internet was flickering. We're at Stephen's parents. So thankfully for the mobile business, I can do this away from home. But yes, I'm going to post that in our team page. We can all share it, and I'll forward it on to you. We definitely have some runners. Unbelievable runners that go to school full-time, work 2 jobs. Ashley Funk just opened her own store, but yet managed to go diamond and 1-star diamond. And, so we've got runners on our team like crazy. And that gap that you were talking about, it's funny because before Beachbody, I always seemed like I was stuck in that gap because I didn't have a goal. I've never even set goals. I would just coast, right? Like, so Beachbody, finally, I had a goal to get out of that gap for. So thank you so much for sharing that. I've recorded this. We're going to share it with a lot of our other team and share those 3 questions. And yeah, thank you so much. And I'll keep up with my backwards hat trademark. I might have to get one like you. And I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Thank you again, Arnauld.
Okay, thanks everyone.